Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. It's wonderful to have you along for the ride. So much to get into today. Let's see. We got Eagles news. We got Flyers news. We got Phillies news, of course. Did I mention 76ers? We got the 76ers involved as well. Paul George reevaluated in a week. We'll get to that story as well. Here's my stance on Dave Dombrowski. Dave Dombrowski is going to the Hall of Fame. Dave Dombrowski is going to be in the Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame executive. He's going to be like Pat Gillick and all that stuff. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He has had a terrible last 365 days. He has had a god-awful 365 days. Whether it's the Whit Merrifield signing, the way they handled Taijuan Walker, how at the trade deadline they basically told the team, this is fine. This is fine. Like they told the bullpen, yeah, you get your act together a little bit. We're going to get you a new closer with Carlos Estevez. And then they told the lineup, Austin Hayes is going to be a difference maker. Oh, baby, Austin Hayes is going to be fantastic. Now, some of the prospects that they got, like from the Orioles, for instance, in those trades, they might turn out to be phenomenal. I don't know. But as far as trying to win a World Series right now, Rob Thomson, more or less at the deadline, said, this is fine. He sent a message to the team saying, nobody's coming to save you. We're not going to have a savior coming up here to make sure that this lineup hits in the postseason, even though everybody, myself included, was like, I don't know if this lineup is going to hit consistently enough to actually have success in the postseason. And, it's really, it's great. What happened? They weren't successful enough. They weren't good enough to have success in the postseason. You have two guys that hit for you, Bryce Harper and Nick Castellanos. That's it. Nobody else hit for you. Not Rob Thomson, but Dave Dombrowski's stance on the whole thing was, baseball, everyone sucks kind of offensively right now, and we were kind of right in there as well. And is everybody else making the money that this Phillies lineup is making to produce runs? I don't think so. But, Phillies aren't the worst, according to Dave Dombrowski. He did open things up. Now, when I was watching on NBC Sports Philadelphia, my man Michael Barkan was hosting the press conferences, if you will. And he was like, all right, now we're going to throw it to Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thomson. And then I was like, oh, well, Rob Thomson is obviously back. And then I saw it was just Dave Dombrowski sitting there. And I went, oh, boy. Are they not bringing back Dave? Or are they not bringing back Rob Thomson? And then literally the first thing that you heard from Dave Dombrowski was Rob Thompson's back. And so is everybody else.
Yes. Basically, we have extended Rob Thomson for 2026, and all the Major League coaching staff will be back.
And anytime a season ends in disappointment, failure, whatever, sometimes there's changes in the coaching staff just to get a new voice in there. Why did you guys feel that was not necessary at this time?
Well, I think we have a good coaching staff, primarily. They do a very efficient job. They did lead us to 95 wins, and they've been with us for a couple of years, a lot of cases 3 years, and some beyond that. But they're very efficient. They do their job well. We have a good manager. They work well with the manager. They report directly to him. He would have liked all his coaches back. So to me, it was pretty simple in that regard. It's hard for me to, anytime you're right, you do have a disappointing finish, which we did, but it's also hard to put that on their backs in that case. So I think we all share collectively in what happened, but it's one of those where putting it on any of their individual backs, I don't think was the right thing to do.
Two ways to look at this. Well, three. Well, number one is this is fine. This is acceptable. I told you guys since the end of the season, and I know it wasn't that long ago that the season ended, but I know a lot of people were calling for Rob Thompson's job. I didn't think that was going to happen, nor did I think it should happen. But I thought you had to have somebody's head roll after the way this season ended. You can talk about 95 wins during the regular season all you want. One postseason win is what you had. One win in the 95 in the regular season, one in the postseason. What do you think is going to live on throughout the offseason more? The 95 wins during the regular season or the one win? Or rather, one and done. One playoff series and done for the Phillies that won 95 games. Do you think we've become impressed with regular season performance in Philadelphia when it comes to this Phillies team? Is the regular season impressive? No. You just had your best regular season and you had your worst playoff production. So I'll take a team playing meh. I'll put it like this. I'll take the Phillies playing the way they did in the second half of the season. I'll take that in the first half of the season, as long as they play in the first half of the season the way they did then in the second half of the season. Because, that shows me that you're actually figuring things out. You're getting on the same page. You're getting hot. You've got it down. That's why you see a team like the Mets. That's why you see a team like the Phillies over the last 2 seasons, not including this most recent one, actually go into the playoffs and win a series. That's fun. Or actually 2, wild card round and divisional round, make it to the ALCS. But why did the wheels fall off? Why did the wheels fall off, Dave Dombrowski? What happened to this offense? Why was this offense so bad? And if it is that bad, then how is Kevin Long keeping his job? And this brings me to the second part. The second way you could look at it. Well, the first way is, this is fine. We'll figure it out. All right, whatever. Just like at the deadline, you send a message to the team. No one's coming to save you. Second part of this is, if you're one of the people that's always like, well, Joe Girardi isn't in the batter's box hitting, Bryce Harper is, If you're one of those people, this is a big win for you yesterday, because the players are being held accountable above everybody else. And yeah, that's the way it should be. I didn't see, other than Nick Castellanos, I really didn't see guys improve as the season went on. Brandon Marsh, for the second straight year, had a great start to the season and hit a wall. Johan Rojas, I don't think he knew which way was up with how the Phillies were handling him throughout the season. And you want to look at this Phillies squad right now and tell me that they're going to come back next year with a whole new approach because of the way things ended this year? I don't think so. That's why I'm a little surprised Kevin Long didn't get let go, and they were going to bring in a new hitting coach. But one thing you do have to remember is that Kevin Long is boys with Bryce Harper. Kevin Long is boys with Trey Turner, 2 of your biggest money guys on the team. That also, like Rob Thomson, there's not going to be a lot of changes in that regard. That's the way that I look at this. It came down to what Bryce Harper wanted. And that's, I think, in a lot of ways unfortunate, because what's Rob Thomson going to do? Or excuse me, what's Kevin Long going to do for the guys that are at the bottom end? Like, how does Bryson Stott have the regression that he had? How does Alec Boehm, have an all-star year, but seem like he couldn't get it figured out in the postseason? He said himself, people will talk about the hand injury. I don't think it's the hand. Okay, so you're 100% healthy and you just can't hit anymore? Where's K Long in that? Brandon Marsh's development offensively, where's that? Kevin Long, you're really going to help Bryce Harper that much? You're really going to help Trey Turner that much? Didn't seem like that was the case. And Kyle Schwarber's kind of become a de facto hitting coach, as we learned in that interview he had when the Phillies were playing up against the Mets in late September. They did that ESPN interview. So they got a hitting coach there too. But what is Kevin Long going to do to help the younger bats in this lineup? Because I didn't see anything from the younger bats in this lineup, unfortunately. Now, as far as the offense goes as a whole for this Phillies squad, Dave Dombrowski did talk about the chase rate. It came up yesterday during the press conference, if there's going to be any big changes to the lineup overall. Look, Trey Turner is going to be the shortstop. He said that. They don't seem too impressed with Johan Rojas, unfortunately, but here we are. Johan Rojas is supposedly still going to be your center fielder. Whenever a general manager or a president of operations, whatever, says something along the lines of, I like our team, I don't invest a lot into that. I've heard too many GMs over the years just say, oh, yeah, I like our team. I think we're good at that. And then something else changes where they get a great offer, or they just decide it's time to make that change and they could pounce on something else. So that could certainly happen with Trey Turner. Maybe he ends up playing center field for you next year. Not likely. But just to put it into some perspective there for Dave Dombrowski and the promises he could be making. One of the things he got into yesterday was the idea of making changes to this lineup. But when he was asked about the downturn in the second half of the year and the downturn in the postseason, he said it was par for the course throughout Major League Baseball.
This is a downtime from an offensive perspective in professional baseball. What was the average? 243 at the end of the year? Most of our hitters were better than 243. You see the scores in the games in most of the postseason. There's not a lot of run production taking place. So at times we are vulnerable to being pitched well, as are other clubs. But I can't say that like going into the last 2 months of the season that we thought, oh, that was going to be a major issue for us. But it's something we'll look at. We'll take a look at trying to address to see if we can make some changes. Sometimes, we talk about, it's interesting, and I know a theme is chase rate, right? I mean, everybody I read in here writes about chase rate. I think it was interesting. We got eliminated. We were 6th in major of the 12 clubs in chase rate in the postseason. And so that's not good, but it's not the worst.
Anytime your defense involves, it's not the worst. Your defense kind of sucks. Is everybody else making the money these guys are making? Have clubs invested the same way? The top 5 teams, have they invested the way? The bottom 6 teams, the bottom 5 teams, have they invested in their lineups the way the Phillies have invested in their lineup? I don't think so. A lot of them, at least. And here's the other thing. I just, while we're on the lines of it's not the worst, okay? While we're on the lines of it's not the worst, okay? Here is postseason batting for this year. All teams in the postseason, including AL and NL. All right, if you there's the Brewers at the top. Okay, fine. There's the Yankees at the top. There's the Mets, the Royals, Dodgers, Guardians. Okay, they're the top 6 teams in terms of batting average, postseason batting average. Now those are the top teams I just referenced. Go ahead and follow all the way down the bottom of this list. Oh, there's the Orioles. They got bounced out pretty early. They're 2 games. That sucks. All right, they hit 167 in the postseason. The Philadelphia Phillies hit 186 as a team in the postseason. Now, 186. Now, think about that. Bryce Harper and Nick Castellanos, they were your leaders. They're involved in that 186 despite actually hitting in the postseason. Now, but hey, look at it, guys. It's not the worst. The Orioles were the worst. You, Phillies, were not the worst in the postseason. You were second to the worst. You were the worst in the National League. That sucks. For this lineup to do that and for the president of baseball operations to go, oh, fine. The guy you acquired at the deadline, Austin Hayes, did not play in the most important game all season. He didn't play. So how vital was he really? And you told me, he can hit righties. Oh, this guy can hit righties. He may have in the past, but he wasn't doing it this year. And you want to tell me everything's fine? Just like at the deadline. That is fine. We need minor adjustments. Minor adjustments. This is fine. We're going to get some help in the bullpen. He did talk about the bullpen yesterday as well, as far as what they did in the postseason. He's like, yeah, I didn't see that coming. To be honest, I didn't see it coming. I knew Matt Strahm had been struggling in the later stages of the season. Carlos Estevez, he called him solid. I wouldn't use the word solid. Jeff Hoffman, I don't know what the hell happened there. He had a couple of bad outings before the playoffs. But literally, it was everyone. It was everyone in the postseason in the bullpen was awful. That ain't good. Everyone's giving up runs left and right. You can't have that, especially if your lineup isn't going to score you late runs either. So I look at everything Dave Dombrowski had to say yesterday. We heard from Rob Thomson as well. I thought one interesting thing from Rob Thomson was this is his last stop. He doesn't want to be anywhere else. So I guess if the Phillies are bounced out again early, if the Phillies have a bad year or bounce out of the playoffs again early, I think pretty much anything but a World Series appearance, and Rob Thompson's gone. Even if they have a World Series appearance, he may be gone, but I would think he'd at least come back for one more contract extension, but he doesn't want to be anywhere else. He wanted his coaching staff together, and he got that. So not only was he not fired, he was extended through 2026. The Phillies have this attitude right now, at least, and until they show us otherwise, their attitude right now is, we're going to run this back. This is fine. I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it even a little bit. And I feel like a lot of this was, again, not the decision of Sam Fold, the actual general manager of the Phillies, but I think a lot of this was the assistant president of baseball, the vice president of baseball operations, I guess, Bryce Harper. That's the title I'll put upon him. VP of baseball operations. Right there under. I think it goes Dave Dombrowski, Bryce Harper, and then Sam Fuld. I think that's the way that works. That's why I think Kevin Long is still back. And that's could be a reason why you also have Rob Thomson back as well. But yeah, if you're the type of person that looks at it and says Bryce Harper and the rest of this lineup has to figure it out and guys have to improve and Dombrowski might have to make a couple of deals here to find a more consistent bat in this lineup, a slap hitter, if you will, well, then he needs to go do that. But as of right now, the accountability is 100% on the players. Now it's up to Dave Dombrowski to maybe find some better players that might fit the mold a little bit more with some of these free swingers. Even though they weren't the worst in the postseason. They're the worst in the National League, but they weren't the worst in the postseason. I heard that and I just went, not great. But my overall takeaway from everything Phillies yesterday was the unfortunate "this is fine." The old meme with the dog sitting in the middle of the room that's on fire, just having a drink. This is fine. It's not fine. Phillies need to find some way to improve. Phillies need to find some way for their offense to be consistent. And I don't know how that happens with everything being the same. I hope Dave Dombrowski's got something up his sleeve. Maybe an Alec Boehm trade is in the works. Maybe we're going to get another, decent power bat. Maybe we're going to get another bat that's going to hit similarly to the way Nick Castellanos did in the second half of it. Well, really, the final 3 quarters of the season. He had a bad 1 quarter of the season and everything else turned around for him. Maybe you have that and you got somebody that can fleet of foot. Maybe you're going to make some drastic change. But as of right now, we're being told this is fine. Just like at the deadline. Not a great year. For a guy that I have a lot of respect for in the baseball world, and Dave Dombrowski, 5 World Series, winning 3 of them. That's a pretty nice resume. This year has been a horrific blind spot. The entire year. What can I do to put this Phillies team over the edge? I got it. Whit Merrifield. Now we have to release him. Like, what are we going to do to get this team over the hump? Are we going to get another starting pitcher? No, we're going to try to figure out Taijuan Walker. Okay, good luck to you. Which, by the way, he also did say yesterday, David Dombrowski, that they got an offseason regimen for Taijuan Walker. Where does he fit? What, are you going to have Andrew Painter start 4 innings? And then in comes Taijuan Walker to ruin whatever Andrew Painter just did? You have starters. You have starters in this rotation. What is Taijuan Walker even doing here? Which is why, again, it made 0 sense to even have him pitch. 0 sense to even have him pitch. Anyway, I can't even get into Taijuan Walker. I'm too frustrated just over the "this is fine" idea for your Philadelphia Phillies. That was me for about 20 minutes, not talking about the Philadelphia Eagles and Nick Sirianni. But guess where we are right now? Here's my final thing on the Sirianni sideline thing. 1 and done, okay? It's over. It was embarrassing. Moving on from it. Now we're on to something that bothers me a hell of a lot more. Nick Sirianni lied. And if you want to even give him a shred of the benefit of the doubt, he embellished and he exaggerated. During the press conference, right after the game, the one with his kids, with him saying, "Can you say go Eagles?" And they didn't. Like, okay, that one. Got it. He said he called the play on 3rd and 1 that failed with the Eagles, resulting in an 8-yard loss on a Jalen Hurts sack. He said he called that play. Okay, I believe that. That has to do on the offensive side of things. That makes sense that he would call a play. He also said right after the game that he called a defensive play as well. Quote, "I called a defensive play, but I won't let you know which one that was. It didn't work. But I called a play on the defense." I called a play on the defense. Yesterday, I played this cut for you. Take a listen to this again. And this made me go, this doesn't sound like he called a play.
No, I think it's very common in the NFL when the head coach gets on and says, attack, concede, come on, let's get after these guys. And I think that, that's where that comes from. And then there's personal philosophies that I have of how to play certain situations that you talk through. And so it wouldn't be fair for me to have the philosophies that I have and push that on my coaches, and then not take accountability for it when the play doesn't work. And so, yeah, so that's kind of how it goes, Tim.
Tim McManus, ESPN asked a question. So when he started going on that, he didn't say, you know what, maybe I wouldn't say, yeah, I misspoke. I didn't call a play. I kind of just instructed the philosophy. I wanted to see them be aggressive or something like that. So I listened to that yesterday. And even during yesterday's show, I said, this guy didn't call a play. This guy did not call a defensive play. He said clearly, I called a defensive play right after the game. And then after, we have caught him in a lie, a bold-faced lie. And then they asked Vic Fangio about it. Here's Vic Fangio yesterday being asked about, hey, did Nick call? Nick said he called a play. How'd that go?
Nick said after the game that he made a defensive play call. First of all, what was that call, and are you okay with that?
It wasn't a defensive call. It was just a situation thing to where he just said, hey, be alert for this. It wasn't. He didn't call it defense.
So what was the situation then that he...
It was just when they had the ball near midfield and, it was 3rd and long. He said, hey, be alert that they may check it down or something. They're trying to get in field goal range. More so.
He said that he made the wrong call on that?
In the defensive.
Only one guy can talk at once. I'm sorry.
How does his level of involvement in what you're doing on game day compare to other head coaches you've worked for?
It's pretty similar.
He said that he made the wrong suggestion, I guess, on that play. What happened on that 3rd and long?
They ended up getting more than I would have liked to have seen them get, but it was inconsequential what he said.
Okay.
It was inconsequential. Inconsequential. Like, was Nick talking and then all of a sudden just, all right, just take my headset off. Is he done yet? Can someone tell me if he's done talking? Okay. Anyway, back to the defense, who, by the way, didn't allow a touchdown in this game. But thank God Nick was chiming in defensively. I got the sense that once again, Vic Fangio heard Nick Sirianni talking and just went, ugh. You knew it was coming. Okay. I'm not talking about the other thing Nick did that got the national headlines, but just as far as this goes with his defensive coordinator, this really bothers me. This bothers me more than anything. So now he feels the need to inflate, I guess, his own ego, inflate his own influence in the game. Even if he's trying to take it on the chin and say he called a play defensively and it didn't work, Vic Fangio had no idea what they were talking about other than, hey, they're trying to get in a field goal range. Thanks, Nick. They're trying to score points? Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness gracious. Hold on a second. Oh, wait. Nick, hold on. Nick, call a timeout. I really need to process this, okay? So the other team that I'm in charge of stopping and preventing from scoring points, you're telling me they're trying to score points. For the people on the podcast, I just did a wonderful pantomime of my mind being blown. That's what I did. Thanks, Nick. They might check it down. Oh no. The idea of Nick Sirianni having to inflate his own influence on the game that means he's not actually not doing enough. Like, he feels like, I don't know, I got to call a play every once in a while offensively so Kellen Moore thinks I know what I'm doing. And I got to say, I called a defensive play? Zero exaggeration. This is the most troubling thing that Nick Sirianni has done. I might have it a notch above the other thing he did this week. I might have it a notch above. Just a bold-faced lie. Like, I can't even put it under the idea that he was just trying to take it on the chin for a defense. The defense was great for the most part in this game. Anytime you don't allow a touchdown, that's pretty damn good. You got caught in the lie. This is the head coach of your football team. This is concerning. This is wildly concerning. Nick will speak again today. I don't know if he'll get asked a follow-up question on this whole I called a defensive play and then walking that back. And then Vic Fangio will be like, what the hell are you talking about? And then whatever he said was inconsequential. I know he didn't mean it as this guy is nothing. Why is he even talking to me? But that's how it kind of comes off. I think what he meant to say, like how he meant it was, yeah, whatever he told me, it was no reason the play failed. All right. Good Lord. This team, man, this team makes it really difficult. Because if they win, then it shows all this stupidity is just fine and dandy. It doesn't mean anything. We could be as stupid as we want to be, but we're winning, so it works. I can't remember too many successful football teams where the head coach was the distraction. And I mean, you look at all the success the Patriots and Tom Brady and the Patriots and Tom Brady had. Like Bill Belichick's press conferences where he said as little as humanly possible. Yeah, people would make fun of it, but it wasn't to the point where it was a distraction. Nick Sirianni is saying stuff that is not true. And it's not even a coach speak of trying to take it on the chin for the team. It does the opposite. It inflates his own influence. Whatever that is on this squad. Call to play. Good God. In other news, Sidney Brown still getting caught up on everything Vic Fangio wants to do. Could be seeing him on the team sooner rather than later. Seeing him on the field, sooner rather than later. Cooper DeJean, 91% of the snaps in his starting debut. Vic Fangio said he wasn't coaching to a specific skill set when it came to Cooper DeJean. He called the same type of defense and gave the same type of assignments to the nickel that he did when Avonte Maddox was playing. And I think that is a phenomenal thing. You're talking about as a first start with Cooper DeJean. You're talking about putting a rookie in the same scenarios that you did a 5-year veteran in Avonte Maddox. Cooper DeJean saw 4 targets, allowed 2 catches, and gave 13 yards up in his rookie debut and recorded a half sack in his rookie starting debut, And the play that we talked about yesterday, I went back and watched again. One of the great things that he did against that Jerry Jeudy play where the Browns were right around the red zone. I think they were at the 21 or 20 exactly. And Deshaun Watson threw it up to Jerry Jeudy. A first-round pick, by the way. And true, he's with the second team already, but with a first-round pick. And he guided him to the sidelines. That shows me kid's ready to play. And the best thing you could say about a young player being out there is if he's not making the play, he's right there to make a play. Always around the ball is the other way to put it. Him and Quentin Mitchell might be the 2 best. Well, I think they're already. One game doesn't make a career, but damn, you have Cooper DeJean, 1 game. You look like you might have actually hit the nail on the head at the cornerback position. Finally, Howie Roseman. Good Lord. The number one takeaway I have from what went on in the field was what Cooper DeJean did in that game, and I look forward to seeing what he can do against the Giants. I look forward to seeing what he can do with Daniel Jones. One of the things Vic Fangio did talk about outside of just his head coach was going up against Daniel Jones and the athleticism, and keeps it more on read options more than anybody in the NFL. Something they're having to definitely keep an eye on. Something that their nickel corner is going to have to keep an eye on too, especially if he's in a blitzing scenario. I would love nothing more to see Cooper DeJean bring, really anybody, but Cooper DeJean in particular, to continue and build off of his strong starting debut than to get in the backfield and take down Daniel Jones. Get to Danny Dimes before he does anything. By the way, is there a less deserving player in the NFL than a good nickname? Like Danny Dimes is a pretty good nickname. I'm like, that's Danny Dimes? Okay. All right. Look, of all the distractions and all the things that went on this week revolving around the head coach, I still find myself thinking that this is going to be the rallying point for the Eagles season. And yeah, the schedule gets easier. Certainly. They just had it flexed out. Good God. How much of an insult is that to the Eagles and the Bengals? They got flexed out of a national 425 game. No thanks. We don't want you guys on national television. Deuces. And then all of a sudden, you got to look at this Eagles and Bengals game. 1 o'clock, which is fine with me, by the way. I love a 1 o'clock game. But not exactly a vote of confidence. More on that in a second. But just as far as taking on the Giants and how this could be that rallying point for this Eagles team, every team, every player I've ever spoke to love the us against the world mentality. That's why even teams that are like number 1 seeds or whatever, you hear them in the postseason doing an interview. Nobody gave us a chance. Nobody believed in us. I'm like, I'm pretty sure everyone gave you a chance. Everyone believed in you. You're the number 1 seed, for crying out loud. You know? Nobody believed in us. A lot of people believed you. But yeah, so hopefully this will be that rallying point. And we won't have to deal with the mistakes that we've dealt with for the first 4 games of the season and the mistakes that we saw turn around in the 5th game of the season. So that's good. The other thing is, when I was working with Sunday Night Football, I remember having a conversation with Fred Godelli. And Fred Godelli, for those that don't know, was the producer of Sunday Night Football. And he'd be having conversations with people from the league, having conversations. Basically, the lawyers have the conversations about what gets flexed out of what. But when they're making the schedules and the league needs to decide what games they want in prime time, and when the flex schedule, when the original schedule comes out before the flexing, it comes down to networks, not just NBC, not just Fred Godelli, who's not the producer of Sunday Night Football anymore, but he would talk to me about how the networks, especially network like NBC or ESPN or ABC that would have primetime games, when the schedule comes out, the networks want to be able to trust that certain teams have put good squads together. And Andy Reid was always a trusted coach. Now, this is an easier way to say it, which is if you're a good team, you're going to find your way on Sunday Night Football. If you have consistently been a good team and built up that trust with the network, you're going to be in prime time. You're going to be in front of a national audience. And now it goes beyond just Sunday Night Football, where just like everybody can flex now. Yeah, you need to build up that trust. This Eagles team has not built up that trust. It's the first thing I thought of when I saw the Eagles getting flexed out of a nationally televised game. And yeah, I know a lot of this goes on the Bengals as well. The Bengals just had a win against the Giants on the road. Bengals defense couldn't stop anyone. They found a way to stop the Giants. But now we have to look at it as this. The NFL and CBS in particular does not trust the Eagles and the Bengals, but the Eagles are half of this, to put a good product together. Philadelphia, one of the major markets in the NFL, they don't trust them to put a good game on the field. That's what that means. That's 11 years of working behind the scenes on a national stage, in primetime games, nationally televised games. The word trust is the word that got used by a 30-year television producer. They're not trusted. That ain't a good sign. Maybe by the end of the year, they get flexed in to a primetime game or two. Not that I'm rooting for it. Because, I like the 1 o'clock games. But when it comes to the overall well-being of the team in terms of how good they are, yeah, you want them as many primetime games as possible because they're pretty damn good. Nationally televised games as possible. Because that means they're pretty damn good. And that also means that they're trusted by the networks. And eventually, hopefully, trusted by the fan base. With the exception of the head coach. Kellen Moore, by the way, also addressed the media. I'll say this. Vic Fangio certainly does not give a damn. I mean, saying that the head coach had anything inconsequential is pretty much a good sign that you don't give a damn. Meanwhile, Kellen Moore, definitely more of the new school mentality. I don't know what language he was speaking. He would get asked about what was it? Was it read options? No, I'm sorry, play action. And it would be like he never heard of play action. Oh, it's something we want to do, but we tried to do it, we didn't do it, and we went to do it, but we didn't do it. Huh? What? What about the lack of motion in your offense? Well, motion is a good thing, and we try to do it when the game allows for it, but, motion. What? Jalen Hurts didn't turn the football over. Turnovers are bad. Okay, thanks. It's not like he goes on and on like Vic Fangio, or excuse me, like Nick Sirianni. He goes on and on and on. He just says nothing in 2 sentences. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. So that went down. Didn't really get much from Kellen Moore yesterday. Yeah. Flyers lost, unfortunately, in overtime to the Edmonton Oilers. Matvei Michkov, 2 goals, baby. That happened. And Paul George. Nick Nurse addressed the media yesterday and was talking about Paul George. A bone bruise, but no structural damage. If you haven't seen the freeze frame, we rolled it out for you yesterday. Here it is one more time. Paul George's unfortunate injury thanks to NBA Central. And that's not coming up for some reason. Goo! Ugh. That's not supposed to do that. So that's the way that went down yesterday. Hey, let me tell you about MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Download the MyBookie app, create an account, use promo code FARSY, and get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Bet on the world of baseball, bet on the world of basketball, bet on the world of football. You can even bet on the world of politics with MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. So download the app, create an account, use promo code FARSY, and get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. How about PHL Sports Nation? Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Going to a game? Going to a concert? Going to a comedy show? How about the Game Time app? Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARSY, and get $20 off your first ticket purchase on the Game Time app. That's right. You want to save $20? Want to still go to a game, concert, or comedy show? Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARSY, get $20 off your first purchase. How about this? The Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less money elsewhere, the Game Time app will refund your account 110% of the difference. That's the Game Time guarantee. They also have ticket deals for an hour after the event starts. So let's say you're going to a concert or a comedy show. You really want to see that headliner. You don't really care about the opening act or the middle. You want to save mega money? That's how you save on the Game Time app with an hour after the event start ticket sales. Also, toggle the all-in pricing feature so you know exactly what you're paying before you check out, and Game Time Picks feature on the Game Time app. You filter out all the fluff and you get right down to brass tacks. The best seats at the best prices on the Game Time app with the Game Time Picks feature. So download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARSY, and get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine Wednesday morning already. Wednesday morning. James Alexander, good morning. Farzy, at least Paul George is fine. Look, he wasn't going to play tonight in their matchup with the Nets. And I was waiting for Nick Nurse to kind of spit it out. Like, okay, is he all right or is he not all right? Basically, he's getting reevaluated in a week. Sixers start their season in a week. Good times. We're all having fun. April. Good morning, April. Hello. Tate Jeffries. Hello. Good morning. It would be nice if my boss rewarded me after such great disappointments. Embiid and Topper get new deals. Crazy times. The Topper thing isn't shocking to me. Nobody ever wants to have a lame duck coach. You know what I mean? And he was going into the final year of his deal, so I'm not shocked that he was extended by any means. The Embiid deal is, look, folks, this is going the way of Embiid. There's going to be no trade of Embiid to give the team to Tyrese Maxey and replenish your picks, if you will. Like, that's not happening. This team is going down with the Embiid. Or this team's going to have a parade courtesy Joel Embiid. But yeah, I hear you there, Tate. Thanks. Twiz, what's popping? Good morning. Tom from Alabama. What the hell? We won 95 games in the division. We're cool. We lost in the first round. Hey, we'll catch you next year. All right, take it easy. Dave Dombrowski, go to what the... Tom, this is one of my favorite comments ever. I love it. April, why would he mention that the staff has been here the last 3 years? They have declined in the postseason each of the last 3 years. I don't know. I wish I knew, but I don't know, April. I wish I knew. Doesn't make any sense to me. I-80 State Police. Oh, grim. Okay. QB, what's up, QB? Good morning, Sunshines. Good morning to you, QB. Oh, Tom's back. I'm doing cartwheels. The fact that Turner is staying at short, it'll turn out to be the worst free agent signing the Phillies made in history. 186 in the postseason is pretty darn hard to do. Tom, I concur. Sean Kilrain, hello. Tom from Alabama, it's really hard to believe being that bad. Maybe we overrated them for us. Well, here's the deal, Tom. As far as overrating the Phillies, and here's where I'm at on it. I think every single Phillies fan went into the postseason a little afraid, a little scared, okay? Even if the Phillies have a red-hot September, which they did not, what is in the back of our minds is still a team that got no hit in the World Series. What is still in the back of our minds is a team that scored, 4 runs in the final 4 games of the NLCS last year? Or final 3 games of the NLCS last year? That lost games at home in the playoffs. By the way, no hit at home in the playoffs. We have watched the team throughout the entire year hit incredibly, and then nothing. Trey Turner misses a month and a half, and Edmundo Sosa comes off the bench, hits like 320. And then the Phillies have a hard time getting anybody else to step up like that through injury through the rest of the year. Like everything worked out for you in the first, well, I shouldn't even say the first half of the season, first 2 months of the season. And then nothing but inconsistency to the tune of a 500 team in the second half of the year. Since May, the end of May. Pretty god-awful. So I think most people had it in the back of their minds. Even if you thought the Phillies were great, you knew that mediocrity was right around the corner. That's what's unfortunate about being a Phillies fan over the last 3 years. As much winning as there has been, and yes, winning in the postseason and making it to a World Series and an NLCS and making the postseason this year, 95 wins, best record in baseball for a long time, right? The thing that we know that sucks, which is right around the corner, is mediocrity. As hot as they could be is also as cold as they could be. And unfortunately, 2 guys isn't enough to carry this lineup. Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos. Harper well over 300. Castellanos for the second consecutive NLDS hit well over 400. It's pretty tough. Tough pill to swallow. Sean Kilrain, hello again. Phillies have posted a strong 250 to 185 record under Thomson's management in regular season to go with a solid 20-11 record in postseason games after the club made it to the playoffs in all 3 years. Again, which is why I didn't think he'd get fired. Jordan, but great point, Sean. Jordan, and that's supporting evidence to that. Jordan Coffin, how you doing? Good morning to you. Tom again. Yo, Nick, there's a new invention called a razor. Twiz, he's a leader and takes the blame for his guys, I guess. JLT Webb, hello. Sirianni does nothing but be a puppet for Lori and Howie. Done. Fair enough. Ooh, Avery. Avery Green, I like this. Why did Nick Sirianni make a Freudian slip and say organizational philosophy rather than personal If it's your philosophy, the idea of organizational shouldn't apply. Hold on a minute.
No, I think it's very common in the NFL when the head coach gets on and says, attack or concede, come on, let's get after these guys. And I think that, that's where that comes from. And then there's personal philosophies that I have of.
I see what you're saying. It's definitely likely. Look, I don't know. I wish I knew the answer to it with a lot of confidence, but I don't, because we hear so many different things from the Eagles, unfortunately. I don't know who to believe. But yeah, that could be very well. It could just be a misspeak, or it could be a Freudian slip saying sleep. Now there's a Freudian slip. It could have been just a slip of the tongue. Or it could have been, oh, if I say organizational, people will say I'm not in charge, so I better say personal. And then he corrected it. That's really interesting. Wow, good catch, Avery. I like that. Where the heck is going on here? Here we go. There we go. Jordan, that's Nick just falling on the sword for his guys, but it always backfires and looks like an ass. I agree. Tate says, I don't know. Beats hearing I have to do a better job. Yeah, but the better job thing is obviously protecting the team. He is not a fan of Nick Sirianni. Two totally different styles. I agree. Talking about Vic Fangio and Nick Sirianni. You say LOL. JLT. Didn't we see this in the NS day one in the yard? He's a little. Oh, Nick Sirianni in day one. Yeah, but I could attribute that to just I watched the introductory press conference and I just went, okay, the podium is not his natural habitat. Let's just hope that's the case. But you mean to tell me this guy's going to command a locker room? Okay. Sean Gillespie, good morning. Did a spit take when I saw no changes in the Phillies coaching. Did you guys like the spit take the other day? Yeah. Twiz. Don't matter what we think, the players and organization likes Nick. Quit crying and get behind our birds. Now, here's the deal. I'm behind the birds, man. I just don't know how anyone can have real confidence in Nick Sirianni. Like, how do you pull away from what we just saw over the last couple of days, including lying? I called a play, and the defense coordinator, he didn't call a play. Watch down for the check. Thanks, Nick. You mean they're playing offense? Oh, my God. Thanks. Literally called it inconsequential. Vic Fangio called it inconsequential. Sirianni, Sean Gillespie. Sirianni probably did shave his head and use his kids as distractions. Look, again, one of the things from that whole thing, and I think he said it with WIP yesterday. I only brought my kids up there to show love. If someone's going to come at you and say that you used your kids as shields, and it was multiple outlets, saw it on Twitter, saw it in written media, use them as shields, that's an issue. Just wanted to show them love. Meh. I don't think that's a good enough explanation, Nick. I don't think that's a good enough defense of what you were doing. Hey, Farzi, says Yolanda. What's up, Yolanda? Yolanda Andino Vega. That's a hell of a name. I like that name. Hi, Farzi. Looks the same with this team, and now two Rob Thompsons. Oh, God. Brian Mack, what's going on? Don't think they're anywhere close to being a Super Bowl champion team, but definitely with such a weak league and playoff team. Yep, I agree. Brian, Fredo, Sirianni. Either way is a weirdo. Yeah, I think Sirianni is definitely a Fredo. And he's got sunny tendencies, but no Michael. That's the way I like to describe it. He's definitely I'm smart. I can call defense. For those that don't get the reference, no, you should get the reference. If you don't know the reference, come on, what are we doing? Brian Mack, 1 p.m. games are the absolute best. Twiz, who gave the name Historani yesterday? I forget. For the win, yeah. Hurts has a clean game when we win. I know, right? Sean Gillespie, don't trust the Eagles this year. Wish I could go into suspended animation for a year. That's funny. Stacy Richard, I don't hear enough talk about Real Muto's 0 in the playoffs. Yeah, I've talked a lot about how he went, he batted nothing. Uh-oh. 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 What are you doing here?
I want to give you a hug.
Oh, excuse me, folks. Got to be dad for a second here. This was not planned. For anyone thinking this is, she's crashed the show many times. Did you just come in here on your own volition? Did you come here? Did Daddy tell you to come in here, or did you just come down on your own?
I just turned on the radio.
On your own. Okay, just for the record. All right, you want to give a hug?
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you.
It's a little awkward with the cord there. Here you go. Come here. Give me a face hug. There we go. Dame do baci. Love you.
Love you.
You just wipe off my kiss?
No.
You just wipe off my kiss?
No.
What'd you do?
That.
Okay. Did you finish your orange juice?
Yeah.
Atta girl. You finished your peanut butter bar?
Yeah.
You better eat, girl.
Yeah.
Anyway. Scoozy. Monolotes. Everyone says hello in the chat. T-Bro, April. April says good morning. There's Twiz saying he's good. What's with that? Okay, thank you. Anyway, yeah, everyone's in the chat. Where the heck was I? Stacy, hear enough talk about Roach? Yeah, no, I said that he went 0 for nothing. He literally batted nothing. I should say 0 for nothing. He batted nothing in the playoffs. Don't hear enough of Ruto. Can you imagine Justin Herbert and Kellen Moore in Philly with these weapons? Oof. Bobby Chong. Sean Gillespie, love your Fredo. Thank you. April saying good morning. T-Bro saying Lil Toots. Lil Toots. In the Hindu Kush voice. Just like your brother. Ah! Sweet. Oh, that's great. Lil Toots, good morning. That's what it's all about. Thank you, Sean. Twiz, Farzi's using his kids. Stop deflecting with your daughter, says Big Fish Little Boot. That's funny. Farzi just proved being a good father is being a good father is versus using his kids as a distraction. Fair enough. Interesting. This isn't a point we've talked about a lot, Big Fish. Thanks for bringing this up. Barkley has been getting a pass, cost us one game, and kept the Browns in it. Yeah, his drop was terrible, and it absolutely cost them the game. I know a lot of people gave him a pass because they didn't like the play call. I didn't give him a pass. They lost because he dropped the ball. Now, everything came to that moment. He catches the ball. They win the game. Very simple. They trusted him. He didn't come through. The one thing I will say is this offense changes drastically. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. This is a question that was posted in the chat. But one thing I always go back to, when Dallas Goedert is not in the game, this offense changes drastically. He is such a great run blocker. And I always go back to Jason Kelce in Atlanta. If you remember, the Eagles had this game in 2018, I want to say it was. It was towards the beginning of the season, 2018. They went into Atlanta, and all of a sudden, like Alshon Jeffrey, Dallas Goedert, and a couple other players all they were supposed to start, and they all pulled hamstrings or whatever in pregame warmups. And all of a sudden, you didn't have the roster you thought you were going to have right before game time. And Jason Kelce, after the game, talked about how Dallas Goedert not playing made them throw away half their playbook because they couldn't run the plays. They couldn't run the ball with these plays that they wanted to with Dallas Goedert being in it. And that wasn't just Jason Kelce. There was a number of guys in the locker room talking about how pivotal it was to have Dallas Goedert as part of the run game. So not having Barkley or not having Goddard in this game, I think, drastically impacted what the Browns did, how they were able to have success against the run game. The Eagles in this game, I want to say they averaged 2.7 yards per carry. Or maybe that was just Barkley's number. I'll get it for you. Through the power of internet. Barkley averaged 2.6 yards per carry. 2.6 yards per carry. The Eagles as a team, 3.2 yards per carry. Kenny Gainwell had a 19-yard run. That kind of shifted things. Jahan Dotson got credited for a run. He had 13 yards there. But here's what's really wild. The Browns going against the Commanders allowed 215 yards on the ground. They surrendered 6.3 yards per carry. So I thought this was something the Eagles were certainly going to be able to exploit, and they did not, unfortunately. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful, as per usual. Again?
Daddy, my stuffy outside.
Your stuffy is outside? Oh, white kitty?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get it for you in a minute.
Mom.
I'm wrapping up the show.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Good talk. Anyway, thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful. Oh, here we go. Bobby Chung. Nick slipped up his press conference, said the organization philosophy switched to personally. Yeah, we had that highlighted earlier. Yeah, running a god dang show, Farzy. I don't know who's running the show. I wish I did. Well, I'll tell you who's running the show. Jeffrey Lurie and Big Dom. That's right. More so than Howie. Ari! What's going on, Ari? How you doing, buddy? Fly, Eagles, fly. Hell yeah, man. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Time for the Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars, skymotorcars.com. Once again, the Flyers lost last night 4-3 in overtime to the Edmonton Oilers. Matvei Michkov came up with his first and second NHL goals. Flyers back at it tomorrow night as they continue this West Coast road trip to start out the season. Good Lord. Tomorrow night, 10 o'clock start time against the Kraken in Seattle. That's the way that's going to go. 76ers back in the hardwood tonight. They continue their preseason play against the Brooklyn Nets. 7 o'clock tip-off. Their final preseason game is in Orlando Friday night, 7 o'clock. Embiid's not playing in the preseason. Paul George is done for the preseason. And that's that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks again to the folks at the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone. Create an account. Use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase on Game Time app. Terms apply. Catch you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I believe today we hear again from Nick Sirianni, and we hear from Jalen Hurts as well. So there's that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Seth Joyner Show YouTube channel for all your pre- and post-game needs. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, where yours truly will be bringing you your Sixers postcasts after each and every Sixers game this season. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you. Be back with you guys tomorrow.